handler, and you essentially had a psychologist, hypnotist teamed up with a computer programmer, and they started to pull apart people's thought processes and to analyze them in terms of a computer program running. But although neuro-linguistic programming has a fancy name, the neuro-linguistic experts who are now talking to me have explained that neuro-linguistics is actually a form of hypnosis.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
But what you are doing is delivering that hypnosis in a very gentle and sophisticated way, so that the average person would have no idea their thought processes have been interfered with. Now, Common Purpose as an organization has put up on a website, which they've got as www.commonpurpose.net, they've actually stated that it's complete nonsense to say that they're involved in any form of brainwashing. But what they quoted clearly on that site was that they used behavioral learning techniques, and they quote a gentleman called Kolb. Now, you or anybody else can do the research for themselves, because if you go and start to look at what sort of work Kolb was doing, what he was clearly doing was using deep psychology in order to change people's behaviors, and in particular to break them out of traditional organizational environments in order to move them across, to transform them into a new environment. And this is really the meat of the mind control bit, that we have Common Purpose selecting people, putting them through a training process, which at a minimum means that they consider themselves to be an elitist new leader. And then within a city, for example, those new leaders are meeting out of sight of the wider public in order to decide and push forward new social and political initiatives. It's a very dangerous mix of things, basically.
It sounds very much like a cult, as you said, and again, as you're talking about this, Brian, it feels to me that it's also kind of an invasion in one sense, or a colonization of the mind in regards to how they change people. And again, if they only are interested, at least for now, to educate leaders, and we have this system where we're having right now, where local decisions and so forth are giving up to a more centralized government, be it at the EU or on a national level, it feels like it's very, very difficult to get in there in that sense and change that in some way. And what would you say to that? Do you feel that it's possible to break people out from that might have gone into Common Purpose, or what do you see as a way out of that?
If you were a little bit difficult to hear again, but if I've got that right, you're asking me, is it possible to break people out of the Common Purpose system?
Yeah, exactly. That's the gist of it.
Right. The answer to that is yes. But we have to do something more important than that at the moment. Common Purpose penetration and control is now so strong that we have whole cities in UK that are controlled by Common Purpose. Plymouth is one of them. Sheffield is another one. Liverpool, Manchester. We've got massive political control taking us towards a new society, a post-democratic society. And that is being driven through the fabric of our local government by Common Purpose graduates. And we can show this happening. They are so firmly entrenched, and they are now moving the process forward so quickly, that the most important thing for us to do, in my opinion, is not to try and convert people who've already been got, show the wider public and hopefully the political system what is actually being done in the midst of our society.
Yeah, yeah.
Because once you see what's being done, it becomes so obvious, and then you say it's very easy to counter it because we simply block those people, or perhaps they're going to be gently removed from their jobs. They're going to be controlled, which will stop the problem. And once we've blocked them, moved them sideways, then we've got time to look to see how we help these individuals. But if I analyse this in a military sense, the speed of breakdown in the country, in Britain at the moment, is now so fast and accelerating that we haven't got time to actually go to retrain, reframe these people. Can it actually be done? It can, and again, I'm going to say that I'm learning from people who are properly trained in neurolinguistics, but it is possible to unscramble people, but it's got to be done very gently and very carefully, because if it is done in the wrong way, you run the risk of the person suffering some form of adverse mental effect.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I'll just add one more thing.
Yeah.
For the ordinary person, if I've frightened a few people, and I don't mind doing that because I can tell you that what we are trying to fight at the moment is unbelievably serious. But the best defense for an ordinary person to neuro-linguistic programming is actually to understand a little bit about it. How do you neuro-linguistically program somebody? There are a number of key steps, and I'm not claiming to be an expert in this. There are other people who advise me on this. But if you know at least some of the basic steps, you will instantly recognize them if you're with other people and they try and use the techniques on you.
Right.
But if I just summarize that, yes, it's possible to help these people that have been programmed, but in my opinion, what we've got to do first is to correct the damage they're doing in society.
Brian, before we continue here, I want to check with you if you have the time for us to continue. There's so many more questions I want to ask you, and do you have time for an hour or two with us?
I'm going to say I would really like that, because one of the usual problems I have is that when things start to get interesting, and I like people to ask me a lot of questions because that helps me to explain things. So I would be very happy to do longer with you.
Okay, very good. Well, what we're going to do then is take a little break here and continue with hour two in a little while. But before we do that, Brian, I want you to leave out to people who are listening any websites where we can go for more information. I searched a little bit on it, and of course we can give out the official websites as well, so people can go there and check out. You can go to commonpurpose.org, or as the other site that you talked about, Brian, commonpurpose.net. There's also a commonpurpose.org.uk, I think. But
yes.
your website.
Yes, there's commonpurpose.co.uk.
Right.
I think that's the correct address for their UK-based website. But you will also quickly find websites for Common Purpose International. And perhaps this is something we can come on to a little bit in the next section.
Yes.
But I'd also like you to refer you to my website, which is www.cp, that's for Common Purpose, cpexposed.com.
Yep.
And also a newspaper that I'm running with volunteers to try and explain to people what's really happening in UK, and that is www.ukcolumn, as in Nelson's column or a newspaper column, ukcolumn.org. And there's one further one I'll mention, but perhaps I can do that towards the end of the show.
Okay, no worries. For now, then, people can go to cpexposed.com or ukcolumn.org. redhousecreations.org. And again, we will have these links up on redhousecreations.com, so you can click through from there easily and find both the official and the more critical unofficial websites about Common Purpose and read up on it and decide for yourself what's going on here. But we're going to continue talking more with Brian here in the second hour. So thank you very much for this segment. Brian, stay with us. We'll take a short break right here, and we will be right back.
Who is it?
Richard Paley.
Who is it?
Are you Richard Paley?
Who? Who wants it?
Congratulations, Richard. You had some very interesting scores on the first series of tests for Parallax.
Testing for what?
Parallax Corporation? You did apply for our training, didn't you?
Oh, Christ, that.
As you know, Parallax receives demands from all phases of industry. Demands for unusual personnel. If you qualify, and we think that you can, we're prepared to offer you the most lucrative and rewarding work of your life.
Yeah, what do you get out of it?
We receive a sort of finder's fee. As I said, the jobs are difficult to fill. How tall are you?
6'2". What kind of jobs you talking about?
I think whatever you're cooking on that stove is burning.
Might as well come in, huh?
Oh, I'm Jack. Jack Younger. But we do like to be on a first-name basis with any of our potential candidates as soon as possible. Hey, you look taller than 6'2".
Yeah, what the fuck does my height have to do with anything?
Well, put some ice on it. It'll stop the sting and the blister. I know your tests suggest that you have remarkable talents.
Yeah, what do you mean by talents?
You have difficulty holding on to a job, don't you?
I don't know, I just don't like to take a lot of shit so people say I got antisocial tendencies.
Right. But tell me, has it ever crossed your mind that maybe it's everybody else's problem that they don't get along with you?
Why?
Because, you see, the very quality that gets you in trouble is what makes you potentially invaluable.
What's that?
Your aggressiveness.
Aggressiveness.
Right. I don't want to intrude on you while you're reading. But get in touch with me personally if you'd like to go further. It's been a pleasure, Richard.